into boiling water. Well, there's two aspects of the Constitution that limit the federal government: the enumerated powers doctrine, which is found in Article 1, Section 8, and Amendments 9 and 10. And I know that you're going to be hearing about those a little bit later. The 10th Amendment, says that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are prohibited by it to the states or reserved to the states respectively or to the people. And Thomas Jefferson said that to take a single step beyond the boundaries thus specially drawn around the powers of Congress is to take possession of a boundless field of power no longer susceptible of any definition. In healthcare specifically, and I don't know if many of you knew this, I didn't know it. A friend of mine, David Barton, sent me an email, and he said the founders specifically divided this healthcare area. They specifically placed healthcare in the hands of the states, while the general concept of healthcare prevention would be in the national arena. Jefferson told a joint session of Congress that the federal government was to certify with exact truth for every vessel sailing from a foreign port the state of health respecting this fever which prevails at the place from which she sails, but that the state authorities are charged with the care of the public health. So you see, there was never any constitutional allowance for health care other than this separation that Jefferson, who was the framer of the Constitution, placed during his presidency. And Madison said in 1788, since the general civilization of mankind, I believe there are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachment of those in power than by violent and sudden usurpations. And so we see it, that's what we're faced with today. I believe that usurpers of this republic have laid in wait for generations, using lies and deception to finally succeed in what I would call a bloodless coup. And while remaining unnamed, the works of communism are active and deadly virus within our federal government. I'm drawing to a conclusion here. On February 19, 2008, Accuracy in Media confirmed that the father-like mentor of the current occupier of the Oval Office was Frank Marshall Davis, publicly identified as a member of the Communist Party USA. Davis and Vernon Jarrett worked together on a communist front, the Citizens Committee to Aid Packing House Workers. Vernon Jarrett is father-in-law to Valerie Jarrett. Valerie Jarrett is considered the Oval Office occupier's closest friend and the person who introduced him to his wife, Michelle. In fact, his cadre of political supporters in Chicago, Bill Ayers, Jarrett, Earl Durham, and others, had close associations with or were members of the Communist Party USA. WorldNet Daily reported on August 20th, 2009, evidence showing the White House usurper was a member of the New Party, which sought to elect members of public office with the aim of moving the Democratic Party far leftward to ultimately form a new political party with a socialist agenda. The New Party, formed by members of the Democratic Socialists of America and leaders of an offshoot of the Communist Party USA, was an electoral alliance that worked alongside the Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now, ACORN. In recent weeks, the president's spiritual advisor, Jim Wallace, got into a public argument with radio host Glenn Beck over the meaning of social justice, claiming redistribution of wealth is what the Gospels are all about. Absolutely. Wallace founded Sojourners, a publication he renamed from a magazine he called The Post American, which identified wealth redistribution and government-managed economies as keys to achieving social justice, a term Beck said was Wallace's Christianese for communism. Now, on a recent trip to Nicaragua, I saw billboards with Communist President Daniel Ortega's picture. Now, beside him were the words Cristiano, Socialista, Solidario. Christianity, socialism, solidarity. Sadly, this is what our remade America is becoming. And it's what they do. Like you, I'm a Buckeye. I grew up on a farm. I'm pretty familiar with farm animals. And, there's a lot about farm life and common sense. If it looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, and it walks like a duck, you can kind of assume with reasonable accuracy that it's a duck. Even if it has a sign around its neck, I'm an eagle. Now that's certainly the case with the man who occupies the Oval Office. And many of those, he's pointed to high positions in administration. No, he's not a duck. Guess what? He's not an eagle either. In 1961, leftists were trying to impose socialized health care. At that time, Ronald Reagan said, quote, "One of the traditional methods of imposing statism or socialism on a people has been by the way of medicine." Well, today the wisdom of Ronald Reagan, nearly 50 years ago, should be etched on our hearts when he called on all Americans to stand and act against socialized health care. Quote from Ronald Reagan, "If you don't, this program, I promise you, will pass just as surely as the sun will come up tomorrow. And behind it will come other federal programs that will invade every other area of freedom as we have known it in this country. Until one day, as Norman Thomas said, we will awake to find that we have socialism. And if you don't do this, and if I don't do it, one of these days, you and I are going to spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in America when men were free." Today, you and I, we stand on the precipice of a new day, much like our ancestors did. And before us, there is a nation under God, conceived in liberty. Now, we may not live to see whether history treats us with any kind of kindness, but never let it be said that when the liberties and rights endowed us and our posterity weighed in the balance on the scales of history, that we were found lacking. I urge you today, brave men and women of Ohio, of this Buckeye state, to form a hedge, to stand in a gap, to do everything within your power that these usurpers not destroy our nation. God bless you. God bless America.